Good morning, guys. It's Diamondos. I have another deck tech for you today. Today is actually 5/20/2020, and we're going to be looking at Jeskai Insight today. So to break down that deck name, Jeskai stands for the color combination of Plains, Island, and Mountain. And the Insight part is referring to this card here, Staggering Insight. It is a 2-mana enchantment aura that reads Enchant Creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has lifelink, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card. So the idea is to get this on one of our creatures and just draw a bunch of cards and outvalue our opponent that way. So let's go over the deck as a whole here. This is a Lurrus deck, and for those that are a little bit deeper in the Magic community, this card was just banned in Vintage, which is a huge deal. I think there was only one other banning in Vintage if I remember correctly. But this card's just really good. So we're playing it here. It is the 3-mana 3/2 legendary creature Cat Nightmare. It's a 3/2 lifelinker and it has companion, so each permanent card in your starting deck has converted mana cost 2 or less. So our deck does meet that requirement, so he can be our companion. And while he's out on the field, during each of your turns, you may cast one permanent spell with converted mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard. So we'll be able to get back our creatures that died that we have this attached to. So let's go over all of our 1-drops in the deck. We're running 4 copies of Alseid, of Life's Bounty. It's a 1-mana 1/1 enchantment creature, nymph, 1 white mana, has a lifelink. You can also pay 1 and sacrifice them to give target creature enchantment you control protection from the color of your choice until end of turn, and that is a super versatile ability. You can use it to get through attacks, you can use it to stop removal, you can use it to block. So we're certainly running a 4 of. This is another creature we can equip our auras and enchantments to that we'll go through here. Running 4 copies of Defiant Strike. It's a 1-mana instant in white. Target creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn, and then draw a card. So it's a way to win some combat that your opponent wasn't expecting. It's a way to just filter through your deck. Really good card for its mana cost here. So we're going to run the 4. Running 4 copies of God's Willing. It's a 1-mana instant in white. Target creature gains protection from the color of your choice until end of turn, and you also scry 1, so it's kind of the same as this, but just in an instant form. So protecting our creatures from removal, because we only have a handful of creatures that we're using in this deck, so we just want to make sure we can protect them. Running 4 copies of Karametra's Blessing, 1-mana instant in white also. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. If it's an enchanted creature or an enchantment creature, it also gains hexproof and indestructible until end of turn, so again, more protection. It's a really good combat trick for just 1 mana. The +2/+2 is super surprising a lot of the time. And the hexproof and indestructible are one of the best couple abilities in the game, so we will certainly run the 4. 4 copies of Sentinel's Eyes, 1-mana enchantment aura. It reads Enchant Creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has vigilance. And you can also escape this card. What escape means is you may cast this card from your graveyard for its escape cost, and its escape cost is just 1 white mana. You exile 2 other cards from your graveyard and you can play it again. So normally auras are looked at as pretty bad cards because it opens you up for the chance to get 2 for 1. But this allows you to bring that back, so you're not ever really losing the value on some level. So we're running the 4 copies of this. We're running 4 copies of Opt. It is a 1-mana instant in blue. It reads scry 1 and draw a card. Really good way to just get the cards that we need at the right time. It's a example of what we call a cantrip. Just a filtering drawing ability. Running 4 copies of Shock. 1-mana instant in red. Shock deals 2 damage to any target, so we can hit our opponent's face with this for direct damage to finish the game off. We can take off really important creatures that are giving our opponents resources over time and things of that nature. We can use it to, in combat, to add to the damage that our creatures does to another creature to finish the creature off. Super versatile card for 1 mana. Now we're running 4 copies of Sprite Dragon. It's one of the main creatures we want to be attaching all of these things to and protecting with our spells. 2 mana, 1/1, 1 island, 1 mountain. It's a fairy dragon. It's flying and haste, so it can attack as soon as we play them. And whenever you cast a non-creature spell, so any of these, Defiant Strike, Sentinel, Eyes, Opt, it gets a +1/+1 counter on it. So the idea is to play this early and just cast a bunch of non-creature spells and get this thing huge really fast. Running 4 copies of 10th District Legionnaire. 2 mana, 2/2, 1 mountain, 1 plains. It's a creature human soldier. Also has haste. So we can attack with the second she comes out. And whenever you cast a spell that targets 10th District Legionnaire, you put a +1/+1 counter on her and also scry 1. So same idea. This is a creature we want to be attaching everything to and protecting. And the card that I mentioned at the beginning of the video, that's what I named it. Staggering Insight. It's a 2 mana enchantment aura, 1 plains, 1 island. Super cool art too. Look at that. The flavor text too, only cowards flee from the truth. So it reads, enchant creature, enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has lifelink, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So we get this on one of our creatures here, protect it, and we play Lurrus after they kill a bunch of stuff, get these guys back, protect them, and that's how we're going to win the game. Let's take a look at our sideboard. No, I'm sorry, mana base. Mana base, we did get some tri-lands from Ikoria. These are really sweet lands. So we're running 4 copies of Raugrin Triome. It is a tri-land for the Jeskai colors, and we can also cycle it for 3 if we have enough mana already. Let's see here. And we are running 1 copy of the Savai Triome, and it does help with casting Lurrus. And it's also just another cycle land to have because we don't want to have too many lands because we don't go above a 2-drop here. So we want to have as many options to draw cards beyond lands as possible. 4 copies of Sacred Foundry. It's the Mountain Plains Shockland. 4 copies of Steam Vents, Islands, Mountain Shockland. 1 copy of Temple of Enlightenment. It's the Island Plains Scryland from Theros. 4 copies of Hallowed Fountain, the Plains Island Shockland, and 2 plains. And for the sideboard, we're running 2 copies of Fight as 1 mana instant. Choose 1 or both. Target human creature you control gets +1/+1 and gains indestructible until end of turn. And target non-human creature gets +1/+1 and gains indestructible until end of turn. So we do have a good split. We have a not human, not human, not human, and 4 humans. So this is really good if our opponent has damage-based removal or destroy-based removal, and if there's a lot of combat happening, we'll bring these in. It's a really good combat trick. 2 copies of Light of Hope. It's a 1 mana instant in white. Choose 1. You gain 4 life. Destroy target enchantment, or put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. So we're bringing this in against mono red where we really want that life gain. If our opponent has pesky enchantments like Staggering Insight, we can bring that in against that deck. 2 copies of Apostle of Purifying Light. It's a 2 mana 2/1 creature human cleric in white. It has protection from black, so things like Eat to Extinction can't target it, Heartless Act can't target it. It can attack through black creatures. Also, you can pay 2 mana and exile target card from the graveyard, so really efficient against graveyard strategies. We can take out their Euros, their Kraxos, anything, their Witch's which is familiar with the Cat Oven deck, things of that nature. 2 copies of Devout Decree. It's a 2-mana sorcery in white. You can exile target creature or planeswalker that's black or red, and then scry 1. So this one really speaks for itself. If you're against black or red creatures or planeswalkers, bring this in. 2 copies of Hushbringer. Super unique art on this card, I really like it. 2 mana, 1/2 creature fairy in white. She has flying and lifelink. And creatures entering the battlefield or dying don't cause abilities to trigger. So if your opponent has a bunch of enter the battlefield abilities that are just making you lose the game, bring this in. And it's also a decent card to bring in against mono red, because they'll have them waste a removal spell on it, and if they don't kill it, the lifelink will eventually swing the game in your favor. And last, 4 copies of Mystical Dispute. It's a 3 mana instant in blue, and the spell costs 2 less to cast if it targets a blue spell, and you counter target spell unless its controller pays 3. So we'll bring this in against any blue deck, especially ones that are running counter spells, because we can win some counter spell wars with this card. So that is Jeskai Insight in Standard. We're going to be playing some games today, so make sure to leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss the games. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. I appreciate you guys. Bye.